guys, and welcome back to My ASL Teacher Rocks. If you're joining me for the very first time, please take a moment and click that subscribe button below. Thank you. Awesome. So, my name is Summer, and I'm here today because I want to teach you guys something that I feel is extremely important for new ASL users to learn before they actually start signing. So, if you've taken a class with me in the past, and you know I teach this in intro because it's a concept that kind of helps you understand American Sign Language a little better as to why your hand shapes and all those things are so important. So let's get into it. The 5 parameters of American Sign Language are hand shape, movement, location, palm orientation, and non-manual markers, okay? NMMs, a fancy way of saying facial expressions and body language. So those 5 parameters are centered all around signs that you use in ASL. Each sign has its own set of 5 parameters, which is basically tools to teach you how to formulate the sign correctly. So when we speak about hand shape refers to the way your hand is configured. So in ASL, we use the manual alphabet and the manual number system to identify a hand shape. So for example, you'll hear me in future videos say use your A hand. This is your A hand. This is literally the letter A. And that A hand is used for a variety of different signs such as girl, aunt, apple. The sign for soldier uses your A hands, okay? So I will identify the sign hand shape by the letter. Because again, we use the manual alphabet in the number system. If I'm using the numbers, I may say use a 5 hand. This is your number 5. Or I may say use a 3 hand. Like for the sign for no. No. The sign for no uses a 3 hand. All right. There's also times where there might be slight modifications made to a particular hand shape for you to formulate it correctly for that sign. So idea of this would be saying V hand, but it's a bent V. So that's your letter V, but I may tell you to bend it because the sign requires you to have bent fingers for that particular sign, like the sign for snake. The sign for snake uses a bent V hand. So you'll hear me reference those things, and I'll go into more detail with hand shapes and letters in another video. But just remember that your hand shape is going to be identified by a manual letter from the ASL alphabet or a number from the manual number system in ASL, okay? The second one that we talked about was movement. So movement refers to which way that hand moves because some signs have a movement with them. For example, the sign for Tuesday. The sign for Tuesday circles. The sign for bathroom shakes from left to right. And then the sign for yes goes up and down. Some signs don't move at all, like the sign for my or the sign for mom. Some signs don't move at all. But it's important for you to know which signs move, and if they move, how do they move, okay? So that's important. The next one, which is also very essential, refers to location. So location uses your body as a reference point, the relationship between your body and the sign. So some signs are made on your face, like mom or dad. Some signs are made on your chest, like the sign for please, or the sign for appreciate or enjoy. And some signs are made out in open space within your signing box, but not on your person, like the signs for different colors, like blue or yellow, all right? So it's important to know where the sign is located, because if I'm telling you the sign is signed for mom, and you have this hand shape for mom, but you put the location down here or up here, well, now it changes the meaning, because this is the sign for dad, and this is the sign for fine. But it uses the same hand shape, but the location changes. So you want to make sure you are familiar with the locations. And a tip that I give people, especially when it comes to family member signs, is all male family members are signed from the nose up when it comes to location, and all family members that are female are signed from the nose down. So like dad, granddad, uncle, and then nose down, mom, grandma, aunt. Okay, so that's kind of a helpful hint for location when it comes to family members. The next one is palm orientation. Palm orientation is really important because you'll hear me say this: your palm needs to face your body, or your palm is facing out. Palm orientation matters. Which direction is your palm facing? So think about the sign, for example, balance and maybe. Balance and maybe has the same hand shape, the same movement, the same location, but the palm orientation changes. So the sign for maybe is palm up, moves like this. Maybe I'll go, maybe I won't. The sign for balance is palm down, balance. But if I confuse these two, it will completely change the meaning of what I was trying to express, and it may not make any sense in what I'm trying to express to someone. Someone who's taking this information in receptively may be confused as to why she's saying balance when I asked her if she was going to the store. So you want to make sure your palms are up so you can indicate maybe the correct way. And last but not least, the last parameter is your non-manual markers. Non-manual markers is a fancy way of saying your facial expressions and body language. And this to me is one of the most important factors when it comes to your parameters. And that's because if you don't sign information with the emotion behind it, the intent is lost. The meaning is lost. So if I'm signing something and I got the hand shape right, the movement right, the location is right, my palm orientation is right, but I don't have non-manual markers, I've lost everything in my communication, what I was attempting to express. So for example, the sign for happy. This is the sign for happy. Everything's done correctly, but do I look happy? No. So if I'm telling someone that, oh my goodness, I'm so happy, they may be looking at me like, is she being sarcastic? Because her face isn't matching what she's signing. So those non-manual markers are extremely important in what you are expressing, because it really gives it the meaning. It gives you the intent. It's the same way that we use our voice and our inflection and our tone to express something. So if I'm really upset, I may speak with a deeper voice. If I'm happy, my voice is going to be a little more high-pitched, but you can hear that. For someone who is deaf or hard of hearing, taking this information in receptively, they can't hear that. So they need to see that. So they need to see that you're happy, or you're not happy, or you're sad. They need to see that in your body language and your facial expression. So that's why non-manual markers are so important. So looking at all 5 of these parameters and knowing that every sign has its own set of parameters, you know that if you mess one of these up and you get it wrong or you do it incorrectly, it can completely change what you were trying to express, as I said before. And it will ultimately not make sense to the person who's receiving that information. So you want to be sure that when you are signing, you are thinking about your 5 parameters, and you're thinking that Miss Summer said every sign has a hand shape, a movement, a location, a palm orientation that matters, and it's usually accompanied with non-manual markers. So I hope you guys enjoyed this lesson. The next lesson I'm going to do is going to go into more detail about the alphabet and the number system. So stay tuned, guys. Thank you.